Hi, everybody. It's Nathaniel Avila reporting from Greater Orlando. And I'm here with Timbrel Hildebrand from Crowley, Texas. And today we're going to be talking about Flight of the Navigator, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so what did you think about this film?
I thought it was nice. It was an interesting film, a little bit different from what we've watched so far.
Right. So, have you seen this film before?
I have never seen this film before now.
Right. So, usually around this time, I give like a little backstory on the films that we watch. But unfortunately for this particular film, there's like I couldn't find anything about it.
Hmm.
So we're just gonna get right into like the rest of the stuff.
Cool.
So so the film like starts off with what's his name? Daniel? David?
David.
David. So David uh gets knocked out and then he ends up being 8 years into the future. Whoa.
Yeah.
Because of the aliens. So, what did we think about David when we first meet him?
I mean, he's a sweet kid. I mean, that's a cool thing. The thing about 80s movies is they really don't wait around to get into the story most of the time, at least not movies like this. Like, they throw you right into what's going on. So you had maybe two or three interactions with David before suddenly he was 8 years into the future. Um, I mean, he kind of seemed like your it kind of seemed like your rudimentary kid 80s protagonist. It seemed like they were trying very hard to make him look like Elliot from ET while not quite, merging veering into copyright infringement.
Yeah, they also made an ET reference too.
You know,
Yeah, because
he said he just wanted to.
he just wanted to phone home, right?
Yeah, real
And
subtle.
yeah, and then we all grabbed our stomachs and we just laughed because it was so funny. So, do you think we were able to like get to know David enough in order to like root for him as the protagonist?
I will say, I personally felt like I would have liked a little bit more time with him, but also I feel like you kind of have to look at it through the lens of the time period, and you know, it was usually pretty fast. In the kind of movie that this is, you don't have to have too much time to get to know the kid. So I mean, I think we could have gotten to know him a little bit more. So I think once he was like in the future, we got to know him a little bit more. So that helped us root for him. But before he got knocked out, we didn't really know that much about him. But I think we knew enough from that interaction that he had with his dad, where he was like nervous about talking to a girl, and he had issues with his brother and all of that. That kind of gave you a feel for who he was, enough for you to kind of like be ready to jump on the adventure with him.
He never did ask that girl out.
Well, maybe he did. He went back at the end, so
Oh
who
yeah,
knows?
maybe he got the confidence to ask a girl
Yeah,
out.
kind of like at the end of Lord of the Rings when Sam finally asks Rosie to marry him and all that.
Absolutely. Oh, like in Harry, it kind of reminds me of that one scene in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, where Harry was very nervous to ask out a girl to like the wizard ball,
Oh yeah,
and Ron was like,
and
hey,
no one liked Cho. It was fine.
"Oh snap! Oh, you should have you read the books?
Oh yeah,
Oh, you should. I think like her though how she looks in the books was a lot more unnerving than in the movies.
she was a little bit more annoying, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but like okay, so like when Ron was like, Harry, you fought a dragon. You should be able to ask a girl out, and then he was like, I think I'd rather take the dragon. Da 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 da, and like stuff like that. And I think like a big uh indicator of the character of David mostly stems from his relationship with his brother Jeff.
Yeah, that part was sad. That he came back and everyone was grown up. That part, like, I was watching it with my father, and it was. I realized I went into this movie with absolutely no idea of what it really was about.
Yeah.
So when that all happened, I was like, "Wow, this is a sad movie. What the heck?"
Oh snap! Oh, why would it? Why did it make it? What made it so sad?
I mean, it was sad. He had been gone for all this time. They thought he was dead. His brother was 16 now, and all that. Like, it was sad.
Oh yeah, and then we see like the difference between Jeff as an 8-year old and Jeff as a 16-year old.
Yeah.
and like how like oh snap he kind of matured and he like kind of like figured out the errors of his ways and
Well,
I'm
I should
and
hope so. A lot changes between 8 and 16.
oh yeah.
I should hope, at least, I mean, for some guys it doesn't, but for him it worked.
Yeah. So what did we think about what was the name, David's arc of the film?
I mean, it's not too complicated, but again, like, that's the kind of movie this is. It's just sort of a fun kid joyride sort of thing. So, I mean, he kind of learned how to be brave, I guess, is the real thing, and he learned to love his brother and all that stuff. So, I think that's pretty much what his arc consists of in this film.
Yeah. So now we how did we like the mystery around David and his experience? Like, oh snap, he's how is he 8 years into the future, and why is he still 8 years old? So was
I
that
think it was
really?
12.
Oh, 12. I'm sorry. I got him confused with Jeff. Why like was that really intriguing?
I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought I didn't see it coming, so that was cool.
Yeah, I was very interested in the first half of the film because I was like, it had like a bunch of like Abrams mystery boxes in it and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
where was he? Oh snap! What was he doing for 8 years and
Yeah,
everything?
definitely.
And then we have like the deal with the spaceship and everything. So, what did we feel about how NASA is portrayed in the film?
I don't think NASA would be too jazzed about the way they were portraying the film.
Yeah, NASA was
Those just
like,
look like a bunch of either. Well, they're portrayed pretty negatively, but again, that kind of fits in with the whole kids rule, adults are dumb kind of thing in 80s movies.
yeah, like the NASA is kind of like portrayed as like this, like how you would think like this like deep state like people were like, we need a we're gonna try to get science above human life and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like, why do you think like uh, Disney decided to use like NASA instead of just some generic no name government organization for this film?
Well, I mean, I guess they just wanted something real, something grounded somewhat in reality. That's my only thought on it. That's probably why. And it's a
Yeah,
real thing.
yeah. Um, so moving on, we're gonna go into the character of Max. How do we like Max?
Oh, he was interesting. I enjoyed him. He was an interesting character.
Yeah, he was
He was a
actually.
little weird at some times, but
Yeah,
he's still pretty cool.
yeah. Like, what times was he weird?
Well, I just don't know. So some of the time after he got like, they hooked David up to him, and then he kind of got some of his more humanoid features. He was a little odd at some points, but it was still cool.
Yeah. Do we like Max more like before the brain transplant or after the transplant?
I liked him better before, honestly, because he was more robotic, and I thought that was interesting. But he was fine the other way too.
Yeah,
That was more funny.
I would prefer Max as we first see him rather than uh, Max before. But then again, the Max before does have more personality, but the Max in the beginning is definitely more robot like. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I kind of went more with that than
Yeah, me too.
yeah, because I think like he might not have as much personality, but he definitely I could see him more as an individual character rather than just a copy of David's personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you remember the scene where he was showing all
What?
the remember the scene where David was looking at all the different alien species?
Yes.
Do we like that they use like the practical effects rather than just CGI?
Well, I mean, they didn't really have a choice back then, but yeah, so it looked really neat. Felt very, I guess, Frank Oz.
Let me see. Okay, so it looked more like kind of like a Jim Henson like puppetry.
Yeah, it was neat. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I think the production company that made this film, I think they partnered with the Henson Company, and that's where they got the puppets and stuff.
I would not have been surprised.
Yeah. So So there's that. So what did we think about what was the lady's name for who?
The
Oh, Carolyn.
intern at
Yeah.
yeah, Karen, yeah, it's really young Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, that was Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
way before her Sex in the City days.
oh snap! I didn't recognize her.
Oh yeah, she was a child. She was so young.
Yeah. What did we think about her performance?
Oh, I thought she was cute. She was enjoyable. I liked her. She had some personality. I did think it was a little weird when she was like, "Oh my goodness, you're cute." And I know she meant it in more of like a little brother kind of way when she was talking to David, but it still felt a little strange.
Yeah, I remember because I remember when I heard that the first time, I was like, wow, that's kind of a weird thing to say to a
Yeah, it was a
12-year-old
little.
boy.
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah,
But
like
no, I enjoyed her. I thought she was fun. She was sweet. She helped him escape the lab and all that. She was fun.
yeah. Do we know do you think the film gave her like enough reason to want to free David?
I mean, they probably didn't give her as much as they could, but I mean, it was adequate enough. You know, they're both young, and she clearly is more sympathetic than the other members of the base, so she's naturally going to be more inclined to help him. They could have definitely built more on that relationship, but they needed more time for the spaceship stuff.
Right. Oh, and also David's last name is Freeman. Oh, snap. It's pretty
Why is
clever.
that? Why is that important?
Cuz like he was trying to be free and his name is Freeman.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was pretty clever.
Yeah, that is clever.
Yeah, so also I forgot to mention Max is also played by Paul Rubens.
Yeah, PB Herman.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman. Uh,
Yeah,
you never see him in any much roles that is not Pee Wee Herman.
yeah. You don't, you don't really.
Yeah, and so what do we think about like the parents in this film?
I liked him. Felt bad for him.
Yeah,
Bless their hearts. But
yeah.
yeah, I liked him.
So do you think that there was like could you relate to them in how they let David go into NASA and go undergo those experiments and stuff?
I mean, they were clearly very confused and anxious to have answers, and they wanted instant. That's what David wanted. They were trying to, do what was best for him, and so they were, you know, sort of persuaded to do that because they were convinced that that's what was best for their son, and they wanted what was best for him. So yeah, I mean, it makes enough sense, I suppose.
Yeah, I would make sense too, especially something surrounding like such a big mystery. That's something that I would probably think about for the rest of my life if I didn't pursue that opportunity to find out.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, do you have siblings, Timbrel?
I do. I have two younger siblings.
Could you relate to David and his brother Jeff, like the relationship to yours?
I mean, I guess there have been times that we mess around with each other and stuff like they do in the movie. So yeah, I mean, I could relate with David sometimes. You know, as the older sibling, you always feel a little bit frustrated with your younger siblings sometimes when they act out and whatnot. But deep down, you always love them and stuff. So yeah, I could connect with David.
Yeah. And do we like the ending scene where he was like, "Oh, I love you all, especially you, Jeff."
Yeah, it was sweet. I liked it, because he got to see how much his brother really cared about him in the future, and so he was able to sort of, tap into that love presently.
Right. And so it's a very nice ending. It's a very Disneyan, but I don't
Yeah, it
mind
was
it.
nice.
I don't mind that it ends very happily because I like happy endings. Those are very
Yeah,
nice.
me too. I don't get why anyone likes sad endings to happy endings.
Yeah, I know because I know some people would be like, the everything was wrapped up in a bow.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I
I
think
actually really
deep
like
down,
it.
no one really likes sad endings. They
Uh,
just say that.
yeah, they say that to sound cool.
Yeah, I don't actually believe that anyone really likes sad endings.
Oh yeah, because I mean I don't like feeling sad when I leave when I stop watching a movie. I want to feel happy.
No, of course not.
So, when David, do you agree with David in taking the chance to go back to his time instead of just staying in the 1980s?
I mean, his point was that that wasn't really his time, but the way I see it, I mean, the fact that you don't really see his connection with other people during that time period. You know, I think maybe one of the saddest parts is when he says, "Oh man, all my friends are 20 years old." And, you know, he doesn't want to lose everything from his old life if he starts all over. I mean, he has to literally start all over. And so, you know, the fact that he was willing to take that chance, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Me personally, I probably wouldn't risk getting vaporized, but again, like, if you don't want to miss out, I think it makes sense that he wanted to take that chance in order to have his life back, because he was right, like, in that reality in the 80s, he was never going to be able to be appeased. They would keep experimenting on him. It wouldn't be the same. So he had to go back.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Though I do agree with you that I probably wouldn't have done that personally if I was in that situation because I don't want to be vaporized.
Yeah,
I'd rather stay with my family and guarantee that I be alive and be with them rather than take a risk of being in a different time period that I would feel
yeah.
uncomfortable in and or die. Um, and also, I think like also they I think I don't know, but I think the director Randal Kleiser chose the year 1978 because that's when he released his other film Grease in.
Oh, he did Grease?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until I looked it up.
Neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I think that's probably why he chose 1978 as
That's
the
cool.
original setting. Yeah. Oh, also, like, what do we think about the dog Bruiser?
I mean, he wasn't in very much of the movie. He was cute, though.
Yeah, that's I always like want to take time for the dog because I adore dogs. Like I like how it starts in the dog show, the Best in Show thing.
Yeah.
Why they were there, I don't know. It doesn't matter. is then and with David trying to throw the frisbee with him,
Yeah.
but the dog was just not trained enough to go get it, and Jeff was like teasing him, saying, the dog will never learn how to frisbee." And
Yeah.
then later on in the film, we see him like teenage Jeff, uh, actually throwing the frisbee and Bruiser actually catching it and everything.
Oh,
So
yeah, I didn't notice that.
yeah, and so he was catching it. So he probably felt really bad about that comment. And over the years, he was teaching the dog how to catch the frisbee in honor of his brother, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really didn't notice that.
Yeah, like sometimes you gotta like pay attention to the details.
Yeah.
So, how did you like? What was the overall your overall takeaway from this film?
I thought it was a cute, fun movie. It's a neat little romp. A cute little 80s romp, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely very 80s.
It's very 80s, yes.
Yeah.
But even the 70s parts were very 80s.
Yeah. So, would you ever recommend this film?
Oh, yeah, I'd send people to give it a try.
Yeah, I would too. What would you rate it?
I'd give it 7 or 8 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Cool.
Yeah. So, during this time, I am going to instead of doing the whole background thing, I'm going to say some trivia about this film.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so the first one here is okay. One of the prop halls was refurbished and is now at the topper of a drink station at Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom.
Interesting.
I don't know where that is though. I mean, where that particular drink station is, but I gotta look out for it whenever Disney World opens again in July 11th. So let me see. Okay, so the ship used in the movie used to be in a boneyard at the Disney Studios theme park in Disney World, where it was an exhibit on the Backlot tour.
That's neat.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Backlot tour does not exist anymore. So
Ah, bummer.
yeah, they had to make room for Galaxy's Edge and all that kind of stuff.
Ah.
Yeah, so okay, let me see. Oh, it was Paul Rubin's idea to make the identity of the actor providing the voice of Max a mystery, and he was credited as Paul Mall.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Let me see. I guess it is. I guess it's not. I guess it's kind of was common for voice actors at the time, because when we went over the black hole, the two actors who played the robots they weren't credited either.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a shame.
yeah. Because I mean, it's a pretty. It's really good. We want to see everyone credited.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. Okay, so this was originally an independent film. The main production company, called the Producers Sales Organization, put up two-thirds of the budget, while the rest came from Viking Film, a Norwegian company, and Disney picked it up all the rights for this film for North America, becoming the first distribution deal for the studio under the management led by Eisner.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I guess it does like explain why there were a couple like curse words here and there. Let me
Well,
see.
I mean, there are Disney movies with curse words in them, the live action ones at least.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right,
Like
so
Tron had some cursing in it, I think.
I like the first one.
Both of them.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I want to say they did. I mean, it was the 80s in the first one, so the cursing was kind of the thing
Absolutely.
for kid movies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So,
yeah.
so okay. So the second film released under the Disney banner to contain for oh here it is. Okay, so the second film released under the Disney banner to contain profanity. So this
Really,
was
what was the first?
I don't know. Maybe it was Tron.
Did the Black Hole have cursing in it? I can't remember. I feel like the Black Hole had cursing in it.
It might very well might be. I don't
I
remember much.
cannot remember. I
Yeah,
can't remember. Tron, I think like Tron. Nah, I think Tron came second.
yeah, I think so too. Okay, so it was also the first involvement of Paul Rubens acting for Disney, and a month after his film's release, he continued to perform as Pee Wee Herman on the Saturday. Yeah, okay, we know that. Um, oh, here it is. Sets for Dr. Faraday's NASA headquarters and David's bedroom were built on a soundstage at Miami's Limelight Studios, and the FAA tracking station for Southern California was a site of several scenes, while the interiors of assorted hangars operated at uh, Opelika Airport stood in for NASA property. Al's Alligator Farm, a general store that a dilapidated roadside attraction, was filmed at the BR Horse Ranch owned by actor Burt Reynolds in Jupiter, Florida. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so those are all the different locations that they filmed in. All right, so when Max and David escaped the NASA facility, they traveled approximately 20 miles from the point of origin and approximately 35 seconds, making their speed about 2,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know if a human can sustain that much speed, though.
I don't know. It's fiction.
It is fiction. We do have to like suspend our disbelief. Let me
Yeah, just
see.
a tad.
Yeah. So okay, so the girl at the gas station wears an Epcot T-shirt. Oh, that's interesting. At the time, Epcot was a brand new theme park at Disney World, and having opened 4 years earlier, her brother wears a Miami Vice shirt. Uh,
Hmm.
and the series debuted 2 years earlier. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, see.
Yeah. So let me see. In his room in NASA base, David asks when Starsky and Hutch is broadcast. Oh, okay. So it looks like Randal Kleiser also directed 3 episodes of Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, a little nod to his past stuff. All right. So here's another one. Adverse weather conditions in Los Angeles and Dallas forced the production of this movie to move to Florida. The company made its headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Other locations
Oh,
included Watson, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so I guess they were originally going to film in Dallas.
so they literally were in Fort Lauderdale. That's funny. I figured it was actually shot in California or something.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes studios do like film in different places just for like tax breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and also there was like also the weather condition. I can understand the Dallas one because the Dallas weather can be pretty all over the place.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's all the trivia for today. So in the end, that's Flight of the Navigator. Definitely watch it. It's pretty interesting. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and check it out, and hopefully it'll be great. It's a good time. It's a definitely a good time. All right, bye.